What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me today. It is a beautiful spring day, but I'm in the garage right now because I'm going to spare you all the wind noise. We have 40-mile-an-hour winds coming in today with very low humidity and fire hazards, so we're going to be doing the talking in the garage so you don't have a bunch of wind noise. Guys, be sure to hit subscribe, like, and comment on this video. I really appreciate it. I try to respond to all the comments that I can. I'll get right into it. We're going to be doing some spring overseeding today, as you saw in the short introduction video, the panning across the front of my lawn. It is still a little patchy. I just mowed it yesterday for the first time this year, so it's still coming in good. It's got a little bit of color that still needs to come in from winter dormancy. But what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be using the Scarfire attachment on my Sunjoe, which I can either scarify or dethatch. I don't have much thatch because I just did that in the fall, so I'm going to be trying to cut some grooves into the grass just to try to expose the soil a little bit. I mowed as low as I could possibly go, down to a ½ inch with my reel mower, so I'm trying to get a lot of the existing growth out of the way in order to expose that seed to the soil as much as possible to give me maximum germination. That is key, having seed to soil contact. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be covering the seed with peat moss. I got 8 bags of it today, so we're going to be putting that down. I wish I had a peat moss spreader, but I don't, so I'm going to be using my wheelbarrow and just hauling it around through the yard. That's going to be the most labor-intensive part of this project. If you want to take a look at my previous videos, I'll leave a link up here for some of my renovation that I did in the fall with some of the overseeding that I did in my lawn with my renovation. So if you're not going to be doing the spring seeding, you can do it in the fall as well. So I'll get right into it. I already mapped out where I'm going to put all my sprinklers and stuff this spring, so water is definitely key. We're going to be keeping that seed nice and moist. That's what the peat moss is for. We're going to cover it up so that way we don't lose as much seed. And hopefully this Kentucky bluegrass will definitely take over the existing lawn. So stick around. So there's the Sunjoe with the dethatch attachment. I'm going to be swapping it out for this. It's literally 2 bolts, those 2 silver bolts right there. You just undo it with a 10mm socket. Surprise, surprise, I didn't lose my 10mm yet. We're going to just pop it in there, and then we'll be good to go. Ground prep for seed. We're going to be using Scarfire. I set it to 0, which is right in the middle. We'll do a test pass and we'll set it lower if we need to, but we'll go from there. I don't want to beat up the lawn too bad. And then I think I'm going to wait till tomorrow to put down the tenacity because it's very windy. I don't want a lot of overspray with that. So I'm going to do that in the morning when the wind has died down a little bit. And then hopefully we'll be able to get the seed down the following day. You can see the difference there, but I'll bring you in a little bit closer. So I'm not digging up the lawn too bad, but we just want a little bit of dirt to show up when we're doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up, and then we're gonna spray tenacity tomorrow when the wind dies down. So how much seed should you put down? Well, the manufacturer of Kentucky bluegrass seed usually recommends 2 to 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet, or anywhere from 4 to 5 pounds for heavy overseeding in high traffic areas. I'm going to shoot for 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet just because I've got 5,000 square feet and 25 pounds of seed. So if you saw my overseeding video when I did my fall renovation a couple of years ago, you saw that I've put my spreader, my Scott's Mini, at about 2 3/4 to 3. So that got me a little bit light on the seeding side. So I'm going to go a little bit higher than that. I'm going to do about 3.5, 3 1/4, somewhere around there. What we're going to do is we're going to mark off 1,000 square feet in the lawn. We're going to put 5 pounds of seed in there. And just like I did last time, if you don't have a way to measure this, a scale, like a luggage scale or something, just take the seed like this and figure we can do it by volume. So, okay, we've got this bag. Just divide by 5. So we'll say, like, okay, here's 5 pounds, 10, 15, 20, 25, and just measure with a tape measure the entire width or the entire length of the bag, and then just divide by 5 and just put little marks on it. That's what I did last time, and that got me pretty close. And I also have a little bit of leftover seed from last time, so I'm going to combine both bags. Just so that makes a little bit more sense, what I did is I measured the height of the bag is 15 inches, so I marked off every 3 inches. So this is 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, and 25 pounds. So we're going to put 5 pounds in here, and we're going to spread it amongst 1,000 square feet, and then we'll see how much we have left, and we can adjust up or down based on that. But start low, start your spreader low, since all spreaders are different, so you don't run out of seed too quickly. And if it looks like it's too light and you have too much left over after 1,000 square feet, go ahead and bump that notch up a little bit. If you go through your seed too quickly before you hit your 1,000 square feet, go ahead and bump that number down. It just takes a little bit of adjustment manually. And you got to use a little bit of common sense to figure out how your spreader works, but I know mine pretty good, and I know how fast it puts things down historically since I've done this, so we're going to go based on my previous memory. And if you want to know what 5 pounds looks like on a spreader, this is it. This is about 5 pounds right here. Not an exact science, but close enough. We just had a big downpour earlier today, so ground is nice and wet. Hopefully this stuff sticks to where I want it to go. Then we're gonna put down the peat moss after that, but that's gonna be a very messy and time-consuming job. I may not get all of it on video just because I want to crank it out and get it done with, but believe me, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dump a bag of peat moss into my wheelbarrow. I'm gonna shovel it out and just throw it around all over the place, and take my leaf rake and try to spread it around as much as possible. But if you have access to a compost spreader and peat moss spreader, more power to you. And I've got a lot of overlap with this. Seed can go down as heavy as we want just because we don't want to have any missed spots, but it's not like fertilizer where you can go a big distance between your passes. This is very light seed. It doesn't weigh anything, so it doesn't fly very far. So I'm going to have a lot of overlap. To give you an idea how much seed to put down. That's probably a light amount of seed. You can see how it's separated like that next to my hand. It's very light. Kentucky bluegrass seed doesn't go down very heavy because you don't need a lot of it. It spreads. But if you have a different type of grass like fescue or something else that's a different variety, it may have to go down heavier. I think tall fescue goes down at 7 or 8 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So you're going to have much larger seeds, larger seed heads, but they're going to be higher volume of them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing this. We're going to do the grid pattern as usual. With the spreader, I'm going to go east to west, and then north to south. We're going to make a second pass. Okay, you can see I only put down about half of what I said I was going to, so 3 is definitely too low. Now this is how you calibrate your spreader, guys. You start with a small amount, over 1,000 square feet, and if you don't get the results you want, bump it up. We're going to go up to 4, and then we'll throw it down again, and we'll see how far we get. We should be able to cover about half the distance now with what's remaining, and if we are still not calibrated, we'll bump it up again. But make small incremental adjustments at a time, guys. You don't want to go from 3 to 6 because that's not a linear adjustment on these things. So going from 3 to 6 isn't going to effectively double the output. It's going to be a lot more than that. So make small adjustments, test, and then make another adjustment if you need to. Now this is going to be the incredibly labor-intensive and dirty part. Got my gardening gloves at a bare minimum. I wish I had a compost spreader for this, but if you don't, I'm just gonna slash this bag open. I'm just gonna drag it out and try to blow it around over 500 square feet or so. I think one 3 cubic foot bag that's compressed like this should cover about 500 square feet, so roughly half the area that I just seeded. And if I need more or less, I can always get more bags, but I bought 8 bags for just under 5,000 square feet, so we'll see how far we get. That's very dusty work. Definitely gonna need to take a shower after this. And probably more bags than what I thought. So one bag, 500 square feet, is roughly at that one bend in the landscaping right there. And it's a little bit thin. So let me show you how much you want to put down. And you can see my previous last year's spring patch seeding job where I showed you how much peat moss to put down. Now this, I think, is pretty good as long as the native grass blades that are already there are poking through. That's pretty good, but you definitely want to cover up any of the bare spots. So you can see, like, where I used the dethatcher, the scarifier, the peat moss filled in everything in the low spots. So the seed is all settled down in there. But I do not care for that quality of peat moss. I don't remember being this bad last year. I'm finding stones in here. So Home Depot, I'm not impressed with your peat moss. There's a lot of sticks and a lot of big chunks in here, and stones. This is definitely not as good of quality as I remember last year, so maybe they have some bad batches this year. I don't know. Hopefully the other bags aren't this bad, but there's some big sticks in here that I'm gonna have to pick up when I'm done. It's like mulch, basically, not peat moss. Kind of sad about that. So I'm going to get another bag covering some of the areas. I didn't rake that in yet. I just kind of poured it out, but you can kind of see the level of it. There's some areas in there that need some more. Some areas that are covered pretty good. I'll rake out the rest. This is going to be a boring video if it goes on any longer, so I'm just going to do this one section for now. And guys, be sure to subscribe for future videos because I'm going to be doing a sprinkler setup video separate from this, and I'm also going to be doing some fertilizer videos in the future as well. So guys, if you've got any comments or anything, leave them below. I always love reading your comments. I try to respond to as many as I can. I got my work cut out for me. Until next time, thanks for watching. Got it all raked in. That's what it looks like when it's raked in, and I have a lot of waste because of the sticks. I got a long way to go.